This is from NFL.com, ranking all 32 NFL classes from last year, the rookie classes. And the Browns ranked dead last. It's not a huge surprise given that they didn't draft until 54, but you see Michael Hall had a little bit of the suspension, then he got hurt, didn't play much. Zach Zinter pressed into service, didn't look really good. Again, coming back from a broken leg, that's tough for an offensive lineman. Jamari Thrash didn't flash. Watson really didn't do much. Harden was hurt. Briggs played pretty well, actually, and then Winston Reed, a rookie undrafted guy, played well. The Browns rookies were not great, without question. But they also kind of felt like they were in that window where they weren't really looking to rookies. And that's how you end up at 3-14 and a fan base that is not real happy.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of factors that play into this low ranking. Number one, again, they had I think you could argue, I can't remember where I saw this as far as value goes, but I think they had the least draft capital of anybody in football. Not only did they not have a pick in the top 50, they had 2 picks in the top 150, and they didn't make any moves to add any other picks in that area. So right away, you're pretty much up against it as far as draft capital goes. You pretty much don't have a lot of good choices, especially outside the top 150. And the number 2, like you said, really there weren't going to be a lot of opportunities for these guys. Some of these guys, like Mike Hall Jr., were drafted to be guys who were developmental. Zach Zinter, in my mind, was a guy who, in a perfect world, should have redshirted last season to really get stronger coming off his broken leg. But, forced to kind of play in last season, and he kind of looked like a guy who needed to get stronger. So I think in a lot of ways, this draft class was kind of in a position where you were going to be lucky to get a lot out of it as rookies, especially, again, considering 4 of those picks were outside the top 150, and those are guys that very rarely make rookie impacts. That said, Mike Hall Jr. showed plenty of flashes. Juwan Briggs looked pretty good in stretches. I still have a lot of belief in Zach Zinter. I think he's got a chance to compete for a potential starting job, depending on what happens with Joel Bitonio. At the minimum, getting a year stronger going in year 2. I think he's got it. I think I'm far from giving up on him. It's going to be an important offseason for him. Same with Jamari Thrash. And I think for Nathaniel Watson and Miles Harden, you're looking for them to, at the minimum, be special teams contributors for these next couple seasons.
Yeah, and again, that's, as you mentioned, not many in the top 150. That's why people want to point to last year's draft and others, but they particularly are hard on Andrew Berry. Everything has a reason.